I remember doing the raw milk cure to try to get my Crohn's and colitis under control, and it was just absolute craziness. So I had to drink about 15 gallons of milk a week. You have to drink between a gallon and a gallon and a half of milk every single day, depending on how big you are. And for me, it was about a gallon and a half. So I had to call, this all took hours of research. I had to read these books that were no longer in print. I think one of the raw milk cure books that I read was $100 because it was like out of print, super rare. Read that and I was like, okay, I need to drink a gallon and a half of raw milk every single day for a month. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do anything to get better. I call my farmer. I'm like, hey, can you hook me up with 15 gallons of raw milk? And they're like, yeah, sure. That'll be like $400. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, whatever. Let's do it. I'm going to be better. I'm going to do it. Let's do it. So I get the milk. I remember pulling up to the pickup part, and it was just like so much milk, it wouldn't even fit in the fridge. I had to buy like a separate fridge just to do this. It's just so much milk. I remember I had to cart milk into the work refrigerator, and all my coworkers are like, what is this weirdo doing? And I was doing all these things to try to up my health, and meanwhile all my coworkers are healthier than me, and they literally don't do anything. I remember, one of my buddies at work, he was kind of, he was always like challenging my beliefs. He goes, remember one day he came up to me and he goes, Mike, you do, this is after we've been working together for a year, so he'd see me like try all these weird things, and he goes, Mike, I don't think it's diet. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I don't think it's diet because I could kick your butt in a fight. And I don't do any of this weird diet stuff. And I'm much healthier than you. So I don't think, I think you need to start looking in other areas. And, I just brushed out. I'm like, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept doing my thing. And turns out he was right. Going down this dietary rabbit hole was uh, really destroying my career opportunities. Like, imagine promoting the guy who carted 10 gallons of raw milk into the work refrigerator. I mean, these were all these hours of research I was doing. This was time I could have spent getting better at my career, going out and having fun, meeting people, making connections, and all that fun stuff. But no, I was busy doing very weird diets and having absolutely nothing to show for it. I literally had nothing. I didn't gain any weight. I didn't fix my food intolerances. And then, I thought I was like, oh, I need to get the milk straight from the cow. Quit my job. It's not a great career decision. And I went and I worked on a farm and drank milk straight from the cow. Drank it, milked it myself, put it in a jar, drank a gallon and a half of that. I did it for, after 2 weeks, I was like, this is not doing anything. I don't see a difference. Just raw milk. Didn't do anything. It wasn't until I started taking the stress approach where the quality of my life really started to change. These conflicts, they're in our subconscious, and it makes us very not fun to be around. It makes us anxious, fearful, angry, frustrated. Not good for your career and your overall quality of life. And it wasn't until I, identified that, like, oh, I always get a bad flare up after every breakup. And my PTSD triggers, like throughout the day, I would get diarrhea, like doing random things. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see how every time I walk down the candy aisle at the grocery store, how that's a subconscious reminder of when I was a kid when we would go down the candy aisle and my mom wouldn't buy me the candy that I wanted. It's finding the original, traumatic events with the help of the PTSD triggers. Just seeing that conscious connection can stop, like, if someone's going 10 times a day, it could stop you going. Somebody probably has about like 5 PTSD triggers that are causing them to go to the bathroom 10 times a day. You find 2 or 3 of them and you cut your symptoms in half. Super easy. I have a 13-day protocol that shows you everything that I did to get this stuff under control. But I mean, it's insane how many thousands of dollars I spent, how many hundreds of hours I spent reading this and that when I could have invested it back into my career and just been living a more happy and fulfilled life.